Going live right
All right.
now.
All right, man. Here goes Allen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast. It's Whittle 2K. I am your one of your hosts, my co-host, Beyond 716. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
This
Are
is
you ready? That's
I
all I
thought
got to
about this.
ask you.
This is a big week. Yeah, this is a big week, man. I thought about changing the song this week to the Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk, Get It Back in Blood, because
Let's
you know
go.
we owe the Bengals a little something, man. We owe the Bengals a little something from last year, but yeah, this is a big game, man. We got the Bengals coming up this week. Sunday night football, another primetime game. Um, we have battled these guys on the football field. We have battled them on the Twitter field of war. It's been kind of crazy over the last 2 years, but um,
Say the least.
I'm really really happy and excited about the guests that we have coming in. We got my guy EA. I mean, he earned the nickname, which was meant to be a negative insult to him, but it fits, and I promise you, it sticks because he definitely is this. Somebody called him Stat Boy on Twitter, and I'm telling you, like, you ask this guy anything, not just about the Bengals, but you ask him anything like really just football related, and he is like a walking um football almanac. Like, the dude knows from schemes to pressures to personnel to packages. Like, he knows what he's talking about. So I'm really, really excited for him to take some time out and come out and chop it up with us. We also got my boy Roland coming through. Roland's another very, very knowledgeable Bengals fan, extremely entertaining guy. Like, he Roland is like the angel on my shoulder sometimes. Like, in Twitter spaces, it gets
You
kind of
know,
crazy, and Roland to be like, "Bro, man, chill, bro. Like, I
he
just
is.
roll with it when they be talking to me crazy." So he keeps me grounded sometimes, man. So I appreciate both of them. But before we get into the Bengals talk, we got to quickly recap the Bucks game. Yo, the Bucks
Hmm.
game, crazy. The Bucks game, crazy. Came out in 11 personnel, 10 personnel, empty sets, all of that. It was the let Josh cook. It was the let Josh Cook offense, and he cooked. He cooked. He got the ball to Shakir. He got the ball to Dalton Kincaid, two of the players that we have been clamoring and banging the table to get involved in this offense a little more. Even Gabe Davis got the ball inside of 7 yards of the goal of the line of scrimmage, which was great because Gabe Davis is a big guy, 6'2", 220 pounds, very tough, very difficult to bring down. So we got the ball in his hands. I loved it. Diggs had like 6 catches, 60 something, 70 something yards, whatever. But it was a whole hum day for Diggs. But overall, the entire offense like really just kicked up and they did their thing. They looked normal again. The defense looked really good. Sean McDermott made some adjustments to kind of mitigate the issues that we had at linebacker. And man, I mean, other than some wonky plays and like Baker Mayfield voodoo, like we got out of there with a win, and it was pretty amazing. What were your thoughts, man?
No, listen, I agree. And there was I was watching a little clip, Josh Allen's interview by a guy named Kevin Clark, And I like what he said. He said, "What I'm about to say is contradictory. When you speed up the game in terms of tempo of the game, it slows the game down." He says it limits their calls and puts them in more basic calls. So when the defense is dialing something up exotic, right, they have about 15 seconds on the play clock. Josh says to decipher the play and have an answer for it. It's kind of like Josh saying, "Yeah, this is what I'm comfortable in," right? And maybe a little, I wouldn't say it was a shot to Ken Dorsey, but more of a, "Hey guys, this is what we talked about letting Josh cook, right? About being himself, right?" So I thought we saw a lot more of that last week. And that was a game. I mean, you look at the score, we won by 6, but did you really truly feel threatened in that game? I and no disrespect to Tampa, because I think they're a pretty solid team, and we talked about a
Not
lot
once.
this week. I felt very confident the way the Bills were playing. I mean, like you said, are there things that Ken Dorsey needs to do better? Do we need to do better in terms of 4th and goal? We could get away with it against Tampa, but the team we have this week and some of the teams we are going to have coming up in the second half of our schedule, we got to clean that up if we're going to go to the places we want to go. But overall, very, like, I agree with you, very solid win, short week. I thought the energy level was excellent, and I thought that was a nice bounce back win for the team.
Speaking of those teams that we got to clean things up against, if we're gonna get to where we got to go, there is a tier of three. I like to call them the big three in the AFC. It is the in order. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati
Mhm.
Bengals, and then the Buffalo Bills. Um, we got to clean things up if we're going to go up against the Bengals. And the Bengals started off this season kind of slow, and they're kind of hitting their stride now. We started the season off. I mean, we had a bad loss against the Jets early. Josh looked crazy that game, but after that, man, we kind of hit our stride, and 3 blowout victories in a row, and then the injury bug kind of took some air out of our sails. But um, I don't want to hold our guest up because I know he's got some other stuff going on. He's getting ready to hop on a plane, and he was gracious enough to give us some time. So we're gonna get to the rest of the Bills talk towards the end of the show. Right now, I want to bring on EA and welcome him to the show and just kind of get this going. EA, what's up, man? Thank
EA.
you for
Hey,
coming.
hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sound
sir.
good.
Yes,
How you
sir.
doing,
Cool,
EA? Thanks for
cool,
coming
cool.
on.
I'm doing good. I'm actually sitting outside of I've got a plane to go to Dallas to go see some friends. I'm
Wow.
sitting outside of a Waffle House right now. Going to go, going to
Nice.
go out to eat and everything before
Awesome.
I
Uh,
get on the plane. So, but no, I wanted to stop by because this is one of my favorite matchups in football. Like the Ravens game involving like with the Ravens Cincinnati, it's cool to play your interdivisional matchups just because like you get certain things that you're going to see. Like your teams know each other so well. So when we see Pittsburgh or we see the Ravens, like I'm sure for you guys, it's like, yeah, we get to play against the Jets again. We kind of know what we're going to see. Like we know how this is going to go. But when we play against the Bills, it's so crazy because the quarterbacks are so elite but they're also so different. Like there couldn't be more polar opposites of what we're going to see with the way Joe Burrow has to have everything on time. We've got to be concise. You have to be hyper accurate. We've got to go through every progression and every read. And Josh is just this. Any play could be a big play. Anything could happen within the realm of possibility. It could be I'm rolling right, someone's open 60 yards that way. I'm going to break out of a sack and I'm going to have to create something that you haven't seen before this season. So this is, and plus with Lou Anarumo's scheme against elite quarterbacks, and obviously your guys' scheme has changed somewhat as well with the Leslie Frazier in the offseason and the departure of him and McDermott kind of taking the reins and what we're going to see on third downs. There's more variance on third downs from what I could see from the Bills. So I'm really excited.
100%. Me too, man. Um,
Yeah.
there are only a couple of teams. There are only a couple of teams that I look at on the schedule and I say, "Oh, I don't know, man. This like I see the Jets on the schedule. I'm like, when. If I see the Patriots, I'm like, when. If I see Denver or the Texans, no disrespect to these other franchises, it's like, man, when if I see the Ravens on the schedule, hello, win. I think win. When I see the
Yeah.
Ravens on the schedule, I think win. But that's the way it is, man. I'm sorry. But when it's the Bengals, when it's the Chiefs, uh, I know we're in for a dogfight. I know we're gonna get the best from that franchise. I know It's going to be super competitive, and against the Chiefs is one way, but against the Bengals, it's a little different. Like neither franchise has a Super Bowl. We broke our playoff drought because the Bengals actually won their last game that they did not have to win. That propelled us into the playoffs to break our drought.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll never forget it.
like it's almost like we're cousins, but like I just feel
Yeah.
like we're cousins that always fight when we see each other. You know what I'm saying?
This is the biggest thing for me. So even as a kid, one of my first memories in my life, and I understand this is heartbreak for you guys. I understand. One of the first memories I ever have in my life is when, do you guys remember ESPN Classics, when it used to just play ESPN Classics day after day after day? They used to do the NFL top 10s on ESPN Classics, and it was the biggest, the most unclutch moments in NFL history. And the top 10, the number one is Scott Norwood, or I don't remember his name. I think his name was Scott
That's
Norwood.
his name.
Yeah,
That was
you're
always,
right.
always number one
him.
with the ESPN. And it would be Steve Mariucci sitting there talking back, Scott Norwood. Man, I feel bad for that guy. And it was just, as a kid, that's one of my introductions to football, about like heartbreak. And I was like, man, that's what makes sports great, but that's also what sucks. Like just stuff like that the entire time. So I feel like you're right in a sense of like, we understand the same pain. We come from the same place. Our teams have been to the promised land, for us 3 times, for you guys 4. And you know what it feels like, but you don't really know. You don't really. You're right
Absolutely.
there. Oh man.
Hey,
So,
A lot of you
Eric,
franchises out here that don't have Super Bowls, you think you know what pain is, but you don't know what pain is. We know what pain is.
Hey,
All right,
hey,
but
what a
listen,
lot. You know what?
Before we go forward, hold on
Oh.
1 second, Brian.
Sure.
Before we go forward, I gotta bring our other guest up here. My man Roland. This is the angel on my shoulder. He keep me from going crazy in these spaces sometimes.
There he
Let's
is.
get him up here. What's up,
Roland?
bro?
What's up, man?
Yes. What's up? Can y'all hear me?
Oh.
Everything good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Roland,
we
we
got
got
you,
you. How you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm just listening, man. Some good conversation, man. EA start talking about some rough moments, man, and we can all relate. You know what I mean. Whittle, you said it perfect, man. We like cousins, you know. We've been through the same thing, some rough times. So I think that's the good thing. You know, we talk on Twitter Spaces. You get to see a lot of teams feel the same way. So I do appreciate y'all having me on. Ready to talk about some Bengals and Bills with y'all, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it.
I mean, my to date myself, my first Super Bowl memory is when Ken Anderson and Chris Collinsworth played San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
1981 in
1981.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, and
Orleans.
the Bengals had some really good teams back then. We played in the playoffs in '82. We lost to you in the '88 AFC Championship game with Ickey Woods. I remember that very well as a 15-year-old.
EA is too young. EA is too young to know about this.
He's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about here? But I remember that pain, Eric. But you guys have been through, I mean, 3, not even just. You had 3 heartbreaking losses. I mean, those games were tight. I mean,
so
Super Bowl 23.
The Bengals in order have lost Super Bowl 14, I believe. In 1981, they lost by 5. In 1989 or 1988, they lost by 4. And then the last Super Bowl, they lost by 3. So 3 Super Bowl more losses, and then we can win one by 1 point.
It's
amazing. We're right on schedule.
Not to listen. Hey, but if anybody can relate to your pain, gentlemen, it's us. So we got you on this. So,
you guys,
we're all in this together. We just got blown out a few times.
You guys understand pain more than any other fan base. I truly believe that, because 4 in a row and not to win one is some of the most diabolical, evil sports fandom torture I've ever heard of.
It is evil. Yeah,
I've ever heard of. It doesn't even make sense.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna destroy. That's why we're gonna destroy everything when we get one. The moment we get one, we're gonna destroy everything in sight.
There's not going to be a table within a 50-mile radius anywhere around Buffalo.
Not one.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping through tables and then other things as well. So.
Yeah.
They catch me to
light mine on fire. Light mine on fire. It's going down. It's going down. I don't want to hold you.
You guys
are yeah. Stack like 3 on top. Light them on fire. I'm going through them all. Bang. No problem.
Yeah.
But so let's get into it. Bengals. This is like I think y'all like drama because it seems like every year you guys start off 0-2. You guys start off looking
It's
rough
brutal.
every single year, and then everybody wants to write you guys off and say, "Oh, the Bengals are done. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. They're not doing this. They're not doing that." And I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I was like, I don't know. They do this kind of every year,
Yeah.
and then after a few more losses, I was like, maybe this might be the year the Bengals don't do it. But here you guys are. You guys bounce back as always. Offense, um, your team just looks. I mean, the defense looks great as usual. You guys have one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and the offense looks. The offense looks extremely lethal. You guys are coming off of a undressing of the San Francisco 49ers, and their fan base has been in shambles ever since. So yeah, if you could just, if you guys could just walk us through, when you guys walk us through what the season has been like so far, and then we can kind of get into the roster.
So, so for me, it's basically been Joe Burrow starts hurt. They play against an elite level defense involving the Browns in bad weather in Cleveland, and Cleveland's always been a thorn in their side. When you're playing against Myles Garrett and your quarterback's not 100%, things are going to get rough really quick for your team. So started off pretty rough and everything. Out from there, they go and they play against the Ravens week 2. Ravens have been a top 5 team this season so far, offensive and defensive DVOA. Ravens have I believe, the best defensive coordinator in football with McDonald. So him and Lou Anarumo, I would say, are about the upper tier of coordinators and defensively in the league. You lose a close game to them, divisional opponent. And then the offense just basically sputtered until week 5. Like Burrow just wasn't right. And then after the Tennessee game, they said Wednesday that week, after they got demolished by Tennessee, the score was 24-3 or 28-3, I believe. Burrow gets right. Apparently that practice, they said he finally got cleared to he could start running a normal offense. And then week 5, they dropped 30 something on the Cardinals. He goes for 300 yards. They have 3 or 4 touchdowns. The Seattle game, they come out hot. Offense looks good. And then it just kind of goes in the dirt because I feel like they didn't have any of the under center stuff planned for the offense. Like they just started. So to give you reference, Cincinnati went under center 15 times against San Francisco. 15 times they went under center. Previously to that, weeks 1 through 6 on offense, they had gone under center 16 times the entire season. The entire season. And that's counting snaps where he need the ball for game-ending plays. So really there was maybe 10 plays the entire season he had gone under center and either ran the football or passed it. And none of those really worked. But last week they were number 1 in offensive efficiency under center. So when San Francisco saw us line up under center, they were like, "What is this? What are we looking at? I don't know. They haven't ran this all year. I don't get it." It's kind of like the playoff game last year against y'all. We went under center a lot and ran the ball with Mixon, and the Bills kind of saw it and was like, "I haven't seen this on film. What the hell is this?" so I just think the offense is finding its rhythm. It reminds me a lot of last year when they played against you guys on that really short, obviously the very short Monday Night Football game, how they came out and they ran it a couple times and it was efficient. And then when they went down the field and scored, and then you guys went down and got a field goal, and then everything stopped, obviously. But it reminds me of just that game because Cincinnati at that point had basically had their most healthy offensive line up until La'el Collins tore his ACL against the Patriots. Then the next week, week 18, after that game had to stop, week 18, Alex Kappa got hurt. Week 19, in the first playoff wild card, Jonah Williams got hurt. So this is the first time the Bengals have been healthy on offense since that Monday Night Football game, which is crazy to think it's been that long. So that's basically where we're at now. Bengals fans, we all feel pretty confident because how healthy the team is for the first time.
Absolutely. Now, Roland,
I'll say for me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say EA pretty much hit it on the head. For me, I mean, obviously it's been up and down so far, and we're up right now. But coming into the season, man, I had real high expectations because we were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then we followed up with an AFC Championship. And I'm to myself, and I think most Bengal fans agree, a Super Bowl or bust. You showed you could win these playoff games on the road. Go get a number 1 seed this year. And you come out week 1 or Joe Burrow, the camp injury and training camp. So you're a little worried, then you see him practice and they announce he's going to come back. Week 1 doesn't look good. EA touched on it. Week 2, the offense woke up in the second half against the Ravens a little bit, but it was still like, it wasn't enough to where you're confident, especially with this Bengals team. You got the weapons, you got the quarterback, you think the coaching is there now in year 4, and it still wasn't much to be confident about. But week 3, the Monday night game against the Rams, the defense really helped out the offense. They put together a couple good drives. Week 4 against the Titans, 27-3, like EA said, so you're like, man, like what's going on? Like, we got the pieces, it's quarterback, but you expect with the roster as good as the Bengals to still be in these games, not losing by 20 points. So I'm not gonna lie, I was real pissed, man. I honestly felt like the Bengals were playing like the worst team in the NFL the first month of the season. Like, and it's just because of what I expected from them. Like, I don't expect 2 3-point games. You know what I mean? Even if Joe Burrow is injured, I expect, coaching or whatever it is to elevate the team, and they just couldn't. But right now they're in a good spot. EA talked about the under center stuff. And I do agree. The Niners are like, what is this? Like, we haven't seen this at all. The play action worked great from under center. They even had some screen passes. So I think right now they're in a good spot. Kind of a little bit of a short week, playing the afternoon game. Or I mean, they kind of get a little advantage because the Sunday night game is late. So I think they're in a good spot right now, man. They came off the bye. They got the scrap whatever didn't work. And I think they're ready to go, man.
Hey, really, really quick to you guys too. Here in just 1 minute, I do have to go. I got a couple people here. We're gonna go out to eat, but I just wanted to thank you guys again. And anytime down the road, if these teams meet in the playoffs, man, I'd love to be on. I'd have a discussion about the Bills, because my biggest thing is I really think this is going to be like, I think we're about to be in for a show. I think we're about.
Yeah.
I feel I saw what you guys have done different with the 11 personnel, and like not Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid looks great.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's being able to cook in this 5-wide system. The defensive variability with everything, with the third down blitzes rather than just Leslie Frazier playing, being like, play cover 2. Like, okay, they're eventually going to figure it out. Like, I think we're in for a show, and I just wanted to thank you guys for having me by, though, man, so much. And if we get this down the road, I'd love to be back on.
Eric, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Hey,
We'd love to have you guys. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you guys, and I'll see y'all later, though, man.
Have a good night, Eric.
See you, Eli.
All right, brother. Take it easy. Yo, that's well, sorry guys, it's that boy's out of here. But I'm happy he was able to come on. We have he when we do have discussions, he's extremely knowledgeable. I hope you guys got at least a little bit of that, from a few. Okay, there he is. Back to the Bengals. Yeah, you guys are hitting your stride. The defense is always good. Lou Anarumo was one of those guys, man, that it's just his system is so good, and he's so good at it that it kind of doesn't matter who you put there, as long as they're a scheme fit from a personnel standpoint, it's gonna be successful. Case in point, you lose Von Bell to free agency. You lose Jesse Bates to free agency. I wish you would have lost Jermaine Pratt, because he would have been a Buffalo Bill, because that's the guy I wanted at linebacker. But I'm happy with Terrell Bernard now. Don't kill me. But yeah, Cheetah Bear Wouzier is coming back from an ACL still. I don't think he's quite right yet, even though he's looked better. He has looked better this year than I expected, to be honest. So you draft a guy like DJ Turner. You got all of the issues with, is T. Higgins gonna stay? Is T. Higgins gonna get re-signed? What are they gonna do? He ain't nothing without T. Higgins, because it's just him and Jamar Chase. They go out and draft Andre Yosivas, 6'3", 220-pound kid out of Princeton that runs like a 4.41. He's got like a 39-inch vert. I mean, all the tools that you need, this kid has. Like if they don't sign T. Higgins, guess what? Andre Yosivas is going to be the T. Higgins going forward. So they're fine. You got Jamar Chase, top 5 receiver in the league. I mean, offensive line is playing well. How are y'all able to do this, bro?
Man, I mean, you said it, man. The draft. Well, first, let's say this: they developed a great culture from the start. With Zach Taylor, that's one thing. Like a lot of people, aren't the biggest Zach Taylor fans as far as like scheme and X's and O's stuff on the field, but he built a great culture. He got a lot of guys in the building, captains in college, championship winning. They played at high levels. You know what I mean? Best of the best on the team. So you start there. And then, man, they have continuity between these guys. Like they're really like brothers. You know what I mean? Like the receivers are always with each other. You see them. They're posting pictures and stuff. Like Joe Burrow, like they're at Jamar Chase. They say ask the neighbors of Joe Burrow, can he move in their house so he can stay next door to Joe Burrow? You know what I mean? So they have continuity on offense. The defensive side of the ball. B.J. Hill and Jermaine Pratt were in college with each other at NC State. I found this out in the offseason that Jordan Battle and Dax Hill were the number 1 and number 2 safety recruits coming out of high school. So they have some history with each other. Man, they just developed a great culture. They got continuity between the players. The younger players look up to the older players or the guys who've been around for a while. And man, they just want to play for each other. They enjoy playing with each other. They want to play for each other. And it's more about the Bengals than the name on the back of the jersey.
Yeah, I think we got a similar culture built up in Buffalo. But just what you guys have been able to do, like the defense was supposed to fall off. I mean, you guys had a rough first month of the season, so obviously the statistics aren't there, but to take that high-powered San Francisco 49er offense and really just lock it up, man, and stifle it out, like really took a pillow and smothered them out, man. Like I was hoping that they was going to soften y'all up, and they didn't. So now we got to deal with a well-oiled machine coming off of a huge win and all of the motivation and and all of the and the adrenaline and the momentum coming into a huge game, man. This is going to be a playoff like atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. I gotta ask though. I see your tackles are playing well. Your offensive tackles are playing well. Your defensive line is one of the best, most cohesive units in the NFL. And it has been for years. Why can't y'all stop that run up the middle, bro? What's going on?
I'll say this. I think that the first couple weeks they got Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, 2 quarterbacks who can move a little bit. You know what I mean? So you'll get some rushing production there. Because if you look at the statistics, and I haven't looked this week, I know coming into the 49ers game, I think they were like 30 for 28 for something in that range. And so you get 2 mobile quarterbacks to start. Week 3, I feel like they did pretty good against the Rams. Week 4, you get Derrick Henry and the Titans. Then you get the Cardinals, who've been okay running the ball. Josh Dobbs can make some plays with his legs. So I think they've played like a couple more mobile quarterbacks, that can inflate the stats a little bit. I think the biggest test so far this year were the last 2 games against Seattle and San Francisco. And in the second half against the Seattle, Kenneth Walker, I mean, like he played pretty good in the first half. I think the second half he averaged like 2 yards a carry or something like that. And McCaffrey, he had a couple good runs, but I mean, you guys know the run game is like a boxing match. You jab, and you get a hook in there every once in a while. You get an uppercut in there. And I'll live with that, you know, when you're going against McCaffrey and Shanahan offense where they want to run the ball. So I personally think the rushing numbers are a little bit inflated. But they've been good the last couple of weeks. And one more point I'll throw in there: the thing about the Bengals is the offense helps the defense. When our offense couldn't sustain drives and keep the defense off the field, you know, you're going to get gashed. Eventually, you're going to give up these runs. Like I said, you know, you may give up 5 and then you may stop them for 2, and then you give up a 20-yard run, and then that's 30 yards and 3 carries. And you're looking at like, oh man, they give up 10 yards a carry, but you know, that's what happens when you're out there on the field. So I'm personally confident in the run defense. I think they fix some things up, and I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think the Bengals play really good complementary football, right? I that's what I feel when I watch them. And watching you guys last week, I had no doubt. Like we were just talking earlier about the Bills beating the Bucks. I mean, I'm sitting there watching, you know, Burrow, what do you have, 19 straight completions at one point? I think he had 19 on that one fumble. It wasn't even his fault. He was like that one screen pass or something. And then Joe Burrow looking like Josh Allen, like a late, avoiding 2 sacks in one play and then throwing a dart. I mean, I was like, are you kidding? I'm sitting there and my wife's like, what's wrong? I said, the Bengals are back. I said, it's like just in time, right, for our Sunday night matchup. But that's the thing that sticks out to me, and something we'd like to see whittle from our Bills a little bit better is that complementary football. So do you think that Burrow's more under center is an indicator of health, Roland? Do you think that means, just seeing him more under center? You think they were more in shotgun because maybe just to kind of protect his ankle or something? Would you kind of like just think of the beginning of the season? You think they were trying to do that?
I think that was part of the reason. And I also think some of the reason was last year we tried under center and it didn't work at all for like the first 5 weeks. You remember we started slow last year. And one stat I always remember stands out to me when we played the Dolphins week 4 Thursday Night Football. They went under center 24 times and they ran the ball 21 times. So there was no it was super predictable. Like teams knew what were coming, and so they went shotgun from week 5 last year throughout the rest of the season. And in the offseason they tell you, man, we need to get the under center game going. So they practice it, and we heard a lot of reports coming out of training camp like, hey, they're going under center, they're using more motion, they're doing different things, and the injury occurred with Burrow, and I do think you don't want him pushing off that leg and putting more pressure on it under center every time. It's a lot more movement under center. So I think the injury was some of the reason, and I think that they were so comfortable with. I mean, they won 10 straight games last year, strictly shotgun. You gotta use it if it worked for 2.5 months of the football season. So I think it was a little bit of both the injury and they were comfortable being in shotgun for 90% of the snaps.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Listen, I got a question. All right, so I mean we not gonna dance around this. Y'all beat us down last year in our building. Y'all was running around the Who Day chants. I can hear them. I can still hear them now in Highmark. Snow Angels and a lot of trash talk coming from the Bengals players to the stop to the fans and the good people of Orchard Park. Hey, listen, this is personal. I like you, but I want to hurt you Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where we at. I gotta ask you. This is not the same Bills team that you guys played against. When you look at the Bills this year, what do you see as far as what? I can tell this is different than last year. I can tell they've improved here. I can tell that they've regressed here. What are you seeing from Buffalo?
Well, first I did. I mean, I watched you guys Monday night, week 1. I feel like the 12 personnel. I thought that was great. I think that's one of the best things in the NFL, and I feel like teams are shifted towards it. I mean, but it's hard to get two good tight ends. You guys got Kincaid and you got Knox already. I know Knox had the injury. So one thing I thought was that you guys did great was went out and got another tight end on the field. I think it's a great way to indicate man is on coverage. You could put your two receivers on one side, and if corners travel over there, you know you got man. And if the corners stay on the tight end, you know you got zone. So I think that was a good thing. Also watching the game last Thursday night against Tampa, EA said a little bit empty. I thought you guys looked real good at it empty. What's my guy? Shakir.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he looked good. They fed him early.
Yeah.
Diggs is still Diggs. Gabe Davis had a I ain't gonna say AFC divisional game, but he looked real good Thursday night. So
Right.
I think that if the Bills and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, like they play with a little more tempo Thursday night against Tampa. I feel like there was a little bit of tempo in there, and they were fast, they were quick at the line of scrimmage. So I think that, just pretty much being in a rhythm, it looks like to me like they're in a rhythm. Even the Dolphins game, they look real good in the Dolphins game. So I think the biggest thing that I've been impressed with, like the offense, like they for the most part, I know they had you guys had the Patriots, tough divisional game, Bill Belichick, great defensive mind, but for the most part, I feel like the Bills have been in a rhythm. I mean, you guys smoked Washington. I mean, you smoked the Dolphins. You know what I mean? So the offense is there. You know they can score points. Just a little more consistency. You want to see it every week. It's hard because these are NFL teams, NFL coaches. They know what you want to do. But yeah, for the most part, for me, man, it's been the offense that I think has, probably taking that next step without Dayball, because I know that's always been a big thing for you guys or fans. What about Ken Dorsey? So I think the offense has looked good this year, scheme and with the play on the field.
Right. Now when I look at the Bengals, I mean I look at obviously one of the best teams in the NFL, Super Bowl or bust type team. I look at some of the losses on the roster and I say they managed to deal with that. So I mean Burrow got paid, so that's not a problem. Chase is up next. I'm not sure if you guys pay T. Higgins, but I think Yosevich is going to be a very good NFL player. You still got Tyler Boyd, so I don't worry about the receivers. Do you miss Samaj P. Ryan? Because I think that was one of those guys that was extremely productive for you guys. And I look at the roster and I don't see his replacement.
My fault, Widow. You cut out. Just who was the player you were talking about? I'm sorry. You said his replacement.
Oh,
is that T. Higgins?
No. I was talking about Samaj P. Ryan. I said Samaj P. Ryan left the roster. Yeah. So I haven't seen, like, I feel like you might lose T. Higgins, but you got Yoshi coming up behind him. There is a possibility that maybe Tyler Boyd leaves at some point, but then you got Charlie Jones that can come behind there. You still got Trent Irwin as well. Like, those guys can come in and they can step up and play. Even if you lose Joe Mixon, you got the kid out of Illinois that you guys drafted. But I don't see the replacement for Samaj P. Ryan. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that was a big loss. Well, to me, I think that's a big loss. And can you just kind of go over that a little bit? What do you think that you guys did to mitigate that loss?
Yeah, so coming into the season, I thought that Chase Brown would be kind of the RB2, the second running back behind Mixon. Man, we got Travion Williams, who was real good in college, Texas A&M. I think he was like one of I think he was the best running back in the SEC coming out. But he had an injury, so he slipped to late in the draft. We got Chris Evans. Now, he doesn't get a lot of burn, but that's a running back a lot of Bengal fans like. They want to see out there. He gives you that receiver role in a running back. Whenever we see him, and I know preseason is preseason, but he's made big plays in the preseason. Our Super Bowl year, we played against the Lions, and they put him out wide, and he sluggo. He faked the slant, got upfield, touchdown. The Halloween game last year against the Browns, they put him out wide. He beat a linebacker down the field. He just hasn't been on the field. Same thing, Travion Williams. He got dinged up a little bit, and I'm guessing these guys just aren't standing out. That would be the only thing I could think of. They're not standing out in practice. Maybe they're Chase Brown. They drafted him in the 5th round, a younger guy. He still has some developing to do. So what they've been dependent on Mixon a lot. Mixon's biggest thing last year was pass blocking. Like, he couldn't stay on the field on 3rd down because P. Ryan was a better pass blocker. Mixon couldn't get the job done in pass pro. But he has improved this year. So I personally think right now they don't have a RB2 they can depend on. Trade deadline just passed. So you got to roll with what you got. But Mixon, he's been a 3-down back for the most part. Chase Brown got a little bit of burn on, and he's out with a hamstring injury right now. Travion Williams is out there a little bit, but for the most part, it's just been strictly Mixon, and he's been able to handle the load though. So, I mean, I think right now, like, they're fine at the running back, man. But down the line, like, we seen what P. Ryan did when Mixon was out last year. Like, you need that serviceable running back. I mean, he was catching the ball out the backfield. He had his career high in catches and receiving yards last year. He had a couple 100-yard rushing games. So me personally, I don't think they have an answer for RB2 right now. They're dependent on Mixon. Mixon looks good so far. So, man, luck of the draw. We gotta stay healthy. We gotta stay healthy.
Real quick, were you surprised that the Bengals weren't active at the deadline, or were you kind of expecting? What was the overall expectations for the Bengals at the deadline?
I was expecting. I mean, some things, they don't really change. The Bengals, honestly, I don't think I've never seen them make any trades at the trade deadline. Honestly, I'm trying to think, man. I'm honest to God, I don't think any trades I can't think of like since a kid. So I mean, it was expected. One of the tight end, one of the Bengals go try to get a tight end. But I mean, man, the Bengals, Zach Taylor always says we like the guys we got in our building, and I really believe that. I think that they stand on that, and they're gonna roll what they got. So I'm not surprised.
All right, let's get into Sunday night football. The world is watching. Bills, Bengals at Paycor. Give me 3 things that you want, three things that you need to see from the Cincinnati Bengals that you feel like will give you guys the upper hand in this game, and 3 things you want to see them stop the Buffalo Bills from doing.
Well, I'll say this. A couple of these kind of go hand in hand. What do we talk about the NFL Plus? So I'm a film guy. I go through. I watch these games. I'm not too big on the numbers, but if I do go look at numbers, there's 2 things I always look at. I look at the red zone offense and defense for both sides of the ball, the 3rd down offense and defense for both sides of the ball, and then turnovers. Those are my 3 things. I actually went and looked up, and I saw the Bills had the 2nd best red zone offense at 60, at close to 70%. And this is touchdowns only, not field goals. 2nd best in the NFL. The red zone defense was ranked 6th in the NFL. So the Bengals, if the Bills get in the red zone, the Bengals need to hold them to 3 points, which they've been pretty good at. And if the Bengals get in the red zone, if the offense gets in, they need to score points. I'm sure you guys seen it plenty of times. Teams stick around when you don't get touchdowns. You only get 3. Red zone offense, red zone defense, and then a 3rd down offense and defense. I saw that the Bills were 19th 3rd down defense. Bengals were 24th. So I think that's kind of an area where both teams can, be exploited a little bit, where these drives can be sustained. Maybe you get an efficient game for both teams if they can't get off the field. And then, but the Bills' third down offense, I'm sorry, is second in the NFL as well. So, and the Bengals is 29th. So, I mean that's a big gap. The Bengals have to get off the field on third down. They have to stop the Bills' good red zone offense, and they have to score on the Bills' good red zone defense. And then number 3, always turnovers. The Bengals have been great at forcing turnovers since Lou Anarumo's got here. Especially the last 3 years, the Super Bowl year last year, and then this year, like the turnovers have been picking up past couple weeks. We got to get a couple interceptions off Josh Allen, man, or strip sack. My boy Trey Hendrickson coming off the edge, man. We got to get some turnovers, man. It's gonna be loud in there, you know what I mean. The crowd's gonna play a big factor. Need some turnovers, man.
I don't know, man. This Bills O line is a lot different than last year. So I like what we got going on over there. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kind of bring. I'm gonna give you my side of that as well. Number one, I think defensive line has to win. The more Joe Burrow is avoiding potential, defensive linemen sacking him, is the less about that. If his eyes are focused on getting away from pressure, it's not focused down the field and finding receivers. So that's number one. Got to get in his face. Got to move him off his spot. Number two, that front four, and I mean, a lot of this a lot of what I'm talking about is going to have to do with the trenches. That defensive line for Buffalo has to be disruptive against the run. I don't care if Mixon runs the ball 20 times. I need it to be 3 yards per carry. Make it a net negative with Joe Mixon running the football. I think if we can do that, then we have a better chance of squeezing that middle of the field area that the Bengals love to run those deep crosses with Chase and Tyler Boyd. Like let's make that happen so we can sink our second level and squeeze that middle of the field. And finally, the third thing. When we get an opportunity to get Joe Burrow on the ground, we have to do it. The Buffalo Bills are second in sacks, and this is a weird stat that I just heard about, I think yesterday. Shout out to Joe Marino and the Locked On Bills podcast. He said we lead the league in potential sacks that are not converted. So that means like when Baker Mayfield drops back the pass and Leonard Floyd reaches out to try to take his head off and he ducks under it and takes off for 9 yards, man, that should have been a sack. We cannot allow Joe Burrow to get out. Like when we get an opportunity to get him on the ground, we got to get him on the ground. And on the other side of the thing of things, what worries me is, yes, we've done a great job at stopping teams from scoring touchdowns. We haven't faced a receiver group like this. I mean, you could say maybe Miami is tough, but they got a lot of little guys that run fast. This ain't that. Like y'all got a bunch of gladiators lined up at wide receiver, and these dudes, I mean, they're big, they're strong, they're aggressive. They attack at the catch point. They're extremely competitive, and they talk a lot of shit. Okay, so you got to get on these guys. Like you cannot allow them to be successful where they want to be successful because number one, they are big and strong. They're very competitive. They're going to challenge you. And number two, when they win, they're going to tell you about it. So they're not just beating you on the field, they're beating you mentally as well. You cannot allow that. The Bengals are in many ways kind of like the Bills. Once the Bills get out in front, it just seems like you're trying to push a boulder uphill. We can't allow the Bengals to get that 2-score lead because that's when the trash talk starts and the who they think gonna beat them Bengals gonna be ringing out of Paycor, and we can't have that. We can't. We gotta get on top of that.
I'll say this too, and Beyond, if you want to go give some points, the one thing I will say that worries me is if the offense takes a step back. I mean, we've seen it for one game. I feel confident in them but it's only one game. It was against a great opponent, but you know what I mean. The question is going to be out there no matter what. I mean, it's natural. Is this who you are, or were you guys up for this game against San Francisco? You came off a bye week, so you had 2 weeks to be prepared. I don't want to say I'm worried about the offense, but it's still a question that can you put this performance on again against another good team, a team that you're probably going to see in January. You know what I mean? So that would be my one concern for the Bengals. That can you replicate what you just did last week, especially against a team that is hungry to play you. We know the Bills want the Bengals. We know 1,000%. Josh Allen, Diggs, anybody. Von Miller didn't get to play last time. Y'all got Leonard Floyd out there. Man, them boys want the Bengals. They want the Bengals. So they're gonna be up for the challenge. The Bengals offense has to put on the same performance as they did last week.
Absolutely. The thing, what stuck out to me last week is when you see Joe Mixon getting 16 carries for 87 yards and the way he was running. Like, with any team that has a great quarterback, right? And this is my biggest key. It's making sure those running backs don't have those kind of performances against you. Because once Joe Mixon can run like that, good luck trying to figure out how to stop the Bengals, right? Even if even on our side, if James Cook is running for 100+ yards and running wild, good luck trying to stop Josh. So I think that's the key for both teams. I think, and number two, and Whittle will agree with this. 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s. Bills have to go for it. They have to be excellent with clock management. They have to be, with the penalties, we got to play a cleaner game, against a team like the Bengals. I think that's going to be a big key in this game as well. Those are really just two of my simple high-end keys to the game. It looks like the weather guys looking pretty decent that night. So it looks like we're not going to have any problems there. It doesn't look like it's going to be a windstorm or rainstorm or anything. So it's looking like the low 60s during the day. So that was just something I wanted to inject into here. So no rain in the forecast. So we could all applaud that. So we should see a great game in that respect.
It was cold. It was cold here yesterday a little bit. It was a little snow falling down. It wasn't heavy, but just a little bit. And I mean, you could go out and look at these weather forecasts, 2 weeks in advance, which I think is crazy. But everybody was saying it was supposed to be cold, but I actually looked up, was looking at some tickets and checked out the weather. I did see the weather wasn't supposed to be bad, so I think we could get a good game, man. Real quick,
the weather not gonna be bad, but them ticket prices is bad right now. I took a look myself. Whoa.
I did want to throw this out there. And I don't know if it stands true. So I'm sure Josh Allen had a great game Thursday night. So maybe is he still number one in completion percentage?
I believe he is. That is correct. Yes.
So what I think is that's super important, because if your quarterback is completing passes at a high rate, it's kind of like an extension of the run game. Meaning with the clock is continuously running. So he's keeping Burrow off the field. And then if the Bengals are doing the same thing, we know Burrow is super efficient. Whittle, I remember you threw a stat out there on Twitter. This was during the summer. Burrow had an adjusted completion percentage in like the 80s or something crazy like that. So
it was like 84%, 83%. Yep.
Yeah, so you got these efficient quarterbacks. Joe Burrow can be efficient. He was the past couple weeks. Josh Allen has been this season. Possessions might be limited, you know what I mean? So it might come down to a turnover or a red zone stop, a field goal in there instead of a touchdown. So I think that's real important to look at. If these quarterbacks are playing, at their best, and naturally you think a shootout if you hear Joe Burrow and Josh Allen are playing at their best, but at the same time that can mean a 10-play, 80-yard drive that took 9 minutes off the clock. You know what I mean? And you only get 6-7 possessions that game. So you got to make all of them count.
Yep. Agreed. All right. We got to put you on the spot now. Score prediction. Let's go.
Look, man. So I got to go with what I just said. I think possessions are limited, long drives, efficient quarterback play. Man, Bengals at Paycor, man. We only lost 2 games in the past 2 years. Both division rivals. Bengals have been real good outside of the division. I gotta go Bengals. I'm gonna go 24-21.
Hmm.
Okay. Beyond, you
Lower
want to
score
give
than I
yours?
anticipated. Sure. Another key I wanted to throw in here, Whittle, and you'll agree, we need Tyler
Okay.
Bass to be Tyler Bass because we all know the Bengals have one of the best kickers in the NFL
Oh
in
yeah.
McPherson. So that that's going to be a huge factor. We need him to be on point. This is a tough game to call, right? I mean, the stakes are high. I feel like this is a AFC. This is a big mover in the AFC, right? When we look back, will this define what we're going to see in January, February? Maybe not, but could this go a long way to propel either of our teams to get where we want to be? Absolutely, right? I feel like I'm going to go with one stat on this, Whittle, just to break the tie. Since the 2020 postseason, the Bills are 7-0 in rematch games against teams they lost to either within the season or the previous year. So
Yep.
I'm going to roll with this, and this is going to be a great game. Burrow's going to get his. He's tough as hell. That crowd's going to be wild. Anarumo's one of the best defensive minds in the game. This is going to be tough, but I'm going to go with 30-27. This is one of those games that Josh Allen gets it done late with a
Mm.
big drive late. Tremendous game. You look back and say they're both great teams. We'll see you probably again in January.
Yo, that's crazy, Beyond, because I was just about to say this game is going to come down to who has the football last. I think that the defenses are going to play well. I just think the offenses are going to play better. I think this game is a 27-31 Buffalo Bills win. Um, and I will make this proclamation here. This is the AFC Championship game for this
Let's
season.
go.
The
Let's
Bills and the
Ooh.
go.
Bengals.
Yeah.
The reign of Mahomes ends this year. It's going to be the Bills or the Bengals. So the Cousins is going to have to get this decided in January who's going to be playing in Vegas or Vegas in February. That's what I'm running with, man. Roland, we appreciate you coming through. EA, pulled up on us and I appreciate you guys coming through. I love our discussions about foot. Like we have great discussions about football. Sometimes it's about life in general. I always appreciate it. If you got anything to plug, man, we give you. You got your time right now, man. Go ahead and plug whatever you want.
Nah, man. Nothing. I appreciate it, man. Like you said, we talk a lot in spaces. I've had a couple people, talk to me about podcasts and stuff, and like I just haven't been able to. But the relationship we got, a genuine one. Like I feel like Whittle, that's my dog. Beyond, I've
Yep.
seen you around before, so it's
Yep,
genuine
same.
love. So I made sure when you reached out to me, I'm like I gotta do it. So likewise, brother, I just want to say thank you for bringing me on. It's the first time I did one of these, so I'm worried. I was worried about my daughter, my 3-year-old. She don't want to go to sleep. I'm like, they're gonna hear her in the background crying. But nah, man, that's it for me. I appreciate y'all. And let's get it rocking on Sunday, man.
Hey, Roland, if
All
my
right,
two
before
cents if my 2 cents matter, you'd be a natural at the podcast. So just throwing it out there. You've
I
been great.
appreciate it.
So thank you.
And let me throw this out there too. Anytime if I'm available, any game the Bills play the Dolphins, I know how the Dolphins Bills rivalry is. If y'all want me to come on here, I'll talk Dolphin Bills with y'all. So
yeah,
I
because we don't
appreciate
like talking to the Dolphins.
You
So,
knock some sense into the Dolphin fans for
yeah,
us,
right.
Will.
All right, but
it.
listen, hey, Roland, we this I know I keep saying this like every episode, but like the Coast to Coast podcast is gonna transform. We're gonna add some concepts, we're gonna add some different things to it. So I'm gonna reach out to you, man, because you got way too much knowledge. You and EA
Yeah.
both, man. Y'all got way too much knowledge not to do this at some or in some form or capacity. Like I would love to see it. there's a lot of people that have podcasts that don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I'm always ready to, support anybody who actually knows what they're talking about. You ask these people what 12 personnel is, brother, they don't know. So,
Hey,
we
12,
gotta,
12 men, 12 men on the field. 12 men on the
yeah.
field.
Hey man, hey man, listen. They only spent $6.99. They didn't spend the whole four. They
Yeah,
didn't spend
hey,
the whole
man.
amount, man. They
Hey,
didn't
look,
do
I,
it.
I start pushing the NFL Plus, and the price went up, man. I think they was watching me. I think
They
they was
was.
watching
They
me.
should give you some kickbacks for that.
You
If
need
they
a
give so
cut,
much
bro.
money,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah,
Look, man,
exactly.
for a while during the preseason, man, and I mean, this is really, man, what I really love football, man. I'm watching videos and these coaching clinics and this stuff all day. My 4-year-old daughter, she'll tell you what cover one is. I'm reaching a little bit, but I mean, I'm really that deep into it, man. I love the game, so I appreciate coming on here talking with y'all, man.
For
Roland,
sure,
that's
brother.
elite.
We
That's elite
appreciate you.
parenting right there.
Shit.
Hey,
Now, if
she'll
you could
tell you
just,
her favorite player is Jamar Chase. She will tell
Man.
you
oh,
that.
oh, wow. Oh, you already got to. I was gonna say, let her do it. Let her roll with the herd, brother. You know what I mean? But it's too late. It's too late. But yeah, man, Roland, man, we appreciate it again, bro. Thank you so much. This is a great episode. And listen, man, like when we do this again in January, we're gonna do it again. So I hope we can get you back on at that point. And hey, if the 3-year-old want to come on the show, bring her on. I got a little baby running around here too at times. So
Yeah.
we can get them on together and they can do the pod. We can chill. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Yeah.
look,
So,
I told you, Widow, my wife, we just had our son
mhm.
a couple weeks back.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
I have all three of them. I
Congrats.
have them right here with me.
Congrats.
All three of them. My
Yes.
4-year-old,
Yes.
my 2-year-old, and my baby boy. Man, we thank you. Yeah,
All right, man. That's
we
that's
could have them all on the pod, man.
Hey, let's do it, brother. Let's do it. But again, Roland, thank you so much for coming through. And yeah, man, I'm gonna holler at you, man. We'll talk on these Twitter streets, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, you
All right,
too.
man.
You too, Roland. Thank you again.
All right, you too, brother. Thank you again. All right, that was my guy Roland, man. Big Ro, man. Listen, I love talking football with this brother, man. Like he
Yes.
extremely entertaining and he knows his stuff. It's awesome.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
but
Yep.
we
Absolutely.
we pushed off the Buffalo Bills stuff. Um, I cannot end this episode without talking about the trade deadline.
Yes. I've been waiting for your input on this.
Bills go out.
I've been waiting.
The Bills go out and get cornerback from the Green Bay Packers, number 29, Rasul Douglas. Now this is I love the move because we had a need at corner. But for me personally, this means a lot because Rasul Douglas is from East Orange, New Jersey. I
Mm-hmm.
was born in Newark and raised in East Orange. Um, he graduated from East Orange Campus High School. That's right around the corner from where my mother, my father, my aunt, my uncle, my sister,
Wow.
like they all graduated from Clifford J. Scott High School. Clifford J. Scott High School is no more, but it's part of the East
Mm-hmm.
Orange campus high school system now. I think they have like the freshmen over there now, but like
Okay.
some of the same streets and areas that parks that he played in. I was there, 15 years prior. You know what I mean? So
Awesome.
this is huge. I love it because he's a Buffalo Bill, but I love it more because he's from the town, man, and I love to see you know my guy, people from where I'm from make it like this, man,
Mm-hmm.
and this is huge to me. The jersey is on order, and if you
Nice.
ever get it, if for some reason Rasul sees this, hey brother, reach out to me. I will bring you some ambassadors chicken wings. I drop him in the car, man. I drive up to the game, and it's all love. Like you can get the 40 piece, brother. You know, if you share with your teammates, that's on you. But you know, just a little taste of home. Or if you want an Italian cheeseburger from Sandwiches Unlimited, holla at me. If you want a pastrami or rye from Cooper's, either way, man. I know he knows all of those spots, man. Those are trademark spots from where we from, and you know it's awesome, man. I actually know a guy on. I actually interact with a guy on Twitter, also from East Orange, also plays football. Very good friends with Rasul. So you know, we're gonna see what we can do and
Awesome.
try to talk to him, man. But this is great. Like I'm extremely happy about it. But how did you? I want to know how you feel about that move, and want to know how you feel about the fact that we're not done adding players to this roster.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, you'll definitely give some more on that, but I also want to throw Lombardi Lenny in there. I mean, Leonard Fournette, bringing him in, I thought that was a very solid move. Just gives us good insurance in case something happens, with any of our running backs. So I thought that was an excellent, a why not type of move. We didn't give up any assets, but bringing in Rasul, I mean, he just checks all the boxes for us, right, Whittle? Right? And when how I gauge a trade too, really quickly, is Thomas, who we had on last week from our Tampa Bay guy, Rasul in big capital letters texted me, great trade, right? He's a Tampa guy, right? My other buddy who's an Eagle fan going crazy about the deal. I mean, he originally was drafted by the Eagles, if I remember correctly. So like when you hear other fans giving you good feedback about the guy you brought in on top of what we're hearing, I think that kind of validates the deal. And it also moves, I think it puts our corners in a better spot, if you understand what I mean. Puts Benford in a better matchup. Maybe it get, Dane Jackson more in his preferred role for us, right? And just the leadership and what he brings. I mean, what 6'2", and giving us that type of corner. And you've said this before that the league is going towards those kind of corners. I think that was a win-win for us. And what we gave up a low third for the, and we got a fifth back from them, which might be a high fifth because the Packers are 2-5. So what do we
Yeah,
move?
they're
40
bad.
something spots maybe to
Not
get
not to mention we have. No, I'm sorry. Not to mention we have
no,
the
you're
third
good.
round comp pick. Not to mention
Yep.
we got that third round comp pick coming for Tremaine Edmonds, and also the beautiful thing about getting Rasul in here is that he's signed through next season as well. So Dane Jackson was a free agent, and Trey White is out with that Achilles tear. So he's probably going to miss most of next year as well. This gives us a very, very good quarterback duo of Christian Benford and AKA the soccer dad. Don't nobody use that. I put it out first. I call him the soccer dad. Don't try to steal it and say it came from anywhere else. That's
That's right.
me. I put that out there. Christian Benford is the soccer dad. Rasul Douglas, I'm working on it. We got something for you. I'm gonna put something together for you. But yo, that's a really good duo. And then you got Kyer Elam, um, who I mean, he played really well last year. This year he hasn't really um, gotten opportunities to play that much. But outside of I mean, he's great depth because the guy has all the physical tools to be just as good as Trey. So I like the spot that we're in, man. I mean, we went from having cornerback uh, as a strength to losing Trey White, and
Mhm.
Kyer's got an ankle issue now, allegedly, where he's out. He's going to be missing some time. It went from a strength to a weakness, now back to a strength with the addition of Russell Douglas. Man, this is awesome. This is definitely awesome, and we're not done. Leonard Fournette, great pass blocker, great receiver out of the backfield, strong runner, gets some tough yards, elevates his game in the playoffs. And yeah, I think he still got a little juice, man. The dude looks like an action figure in Bill's clothes out at practice today, man. That dude is jacked, bro. He is jacked,
Yeah, he is.
jacked. Um, but yeah, we're not done. Bean is still working on some stuff. Hopefully we get an announcement before the end of the week that Indominic Sue is the newest Buffalo Bill or Linval Joseph. Either one, man. We need a
Mhm.
one tech. Let's get him in here. But how do you feel beyond? Like, you feeling good? What's going on? Like, what's going through your head right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think this trade really it just made so much sense for us, and again, just for what we gave up. And I do like keeping Kyrie Elam. I still think there's potential for him down the line. So yeah, it's just a total win-win. And like you said, if we bring another one tech in, and if there are, you never know with Matt Milano, and maybe this means something too. Maybe the fact that they didn't get a linebacker might be an indicator that Matt Milano may return later in the year too. So it's going to be, I think it's a great shot in the arm, for the locker room, and I'm sure those players feel it, right? When they say, "Oh, they got Rasul, oh, he's coming in," that's great, it just gives them that adrenaline rush that they're definitely going to need. And I see our resident Jet fan, hello June, is back asking a question. Do you really
Yeah,
think you're going to beat
hi
the
hater,
Bengals in Cincinnati?
hi hater. Yeah, we think we're gonna beat the Bengals. Just like we know we're gonna beat the Jets when y'all come up to Orchard Park. You better believe that. We're gonna beat y'all by at least 2 touchdowns. Anyway, next week. I mean, I know we don't want to get past this game. Like, I am super pumped about this game. But next week, the schedule and going forward. Next week we got the Broncos. Then the following week after that it's the Jets. Then we got the Eagles. That's gonna be a
Mhm,
huge, huge, huge game.
mhm.
I'm still searching for tickets for this Cincy game, man. I got the flight and already and done already. Like,
All right.
if I can get the ticket, I'm gonna fly out there. If not, I'm gonna just take the L on the flight and
Okay.
watch it from home. But if I can find a reasonable ticket, I'm gonna jump on that plane on Saturday, man, and go watch this game on Sunday. Um,
Nice.
so we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. But you know, check us out, man. You know what we do every week. You know,
Mhm. We sure do.
E- every week, ladies and gentlemen, every week, coast to coast, 9 to 10. I know it's a little late, but we had this is a big game. We put a little extra effort into it, and we have some really good guests, really knowledgeable guys. I
Sure
just want
did.
to again appreciate express how much I appreciate those guys for coming on with us. And Beyond, you got anything before we close out of here?
Oh, I mean, just this is a matchup, like you said. I wouldn't lie to you if it wasn't circled on my virtual calendar here for almost 11 months. So, again, it is personal. It's not, we've we've been itching for this one. So I say bring it on. I think we're in for a classic on Sunday night.
I agree, man. I honestly think, I think this is gonna be the game of the year, man.
Hmm.
I really think this is gonna be the game of the year. But
And just
we'll
one
find
more
out.
thing to close. One more thing to close. The Damar Hamlin angle is going to be, when the game starts, I do expect him to do something. So, that's going to be very interesting to see how that pregame.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up because I didn't want to talk too much about that, but it's definitely a storyline, and thank God Demar is okay, and I'm hoping just for health, bro. Like, let's get out of this game without any injuries on both sides, man. God knows we've had enough, right?
Absolutely.
But so yeah, man. I mean, thank you guys for coming through. Thank you guys for joining up with us, man. I hope you like the content. If you do, feel free to subscribe. Tune in. We do this every Wednesday. Um, yeah, man. I mean, we just a couple of fans from Jersey that love the Bills, and we talk football with the other 31 teams, man. And yeah, man. Coast to Coast podcast. We out of here. Go Bills.
Go Bills.